Deep Threat Sports Network fans, hey, let's do it again this week, baby. We're all back this week. Last week was a little different. We only had one episode. It was a super hectic week. These two fellas had weddings. We had just a lot of stuff going on last week. But, hey, we still got to you and made sure we got an episode out. And we'll review that Book It segment / Fade It segment on Wednesday, tomorrow night. Actually, we're going to go again tomorrow night and do our preview episode. But, hey, just wanted to let you guys know that was a winning week again, 7-6 with 2 pushes. That's how I wanted to begin this week in this conversation, is because I'm telling you, man, this thing's heating up. You guys better look out and get it while you can, because the getting's good right now. But you know how we do things around here on our review episodes. We have our dog of the week. We have our near misses, the they gone segment. And boys, I tell you what, the near misses and the they gone segment, we could do a whole episode just over those two topics, because, I mean, teams are dropping like flies, and it is not looking good for some of these teams. And spoiler alert, we're going to get right into our playoff 12 this week. We're no longer doing our DTSN top 25. We felt like it was time to shift over to our playoff 12, and we'll kind of explain that once we get into it a little bit. That way there's some clarity on that, and you guys know how it works. And then we're going to get into our main game review, and as always, our favorite, the Quickie segment. And we have a ton of games to get to, so we're going to waste no time, and we're going to roll right into this thing real quick. So the first thing that we're going to do, you know how we do things around here at the beginning of this episode, is our dog of the week. Bryant, go ahead and tell the people who our dog of the week is, buddy.
Yeah, there was a few guys we could have picked from in this week, but we went with Julian Sayin. Had a fantastic game this past weekend. Elite stats, 393 yards, 4 touchdowns. Ohio State is a well-oiled machine this season, and even getting better, it seems like, as the season goes on. So credit to him. You know, there were some question marks coming into the season on how good of a quarterback he would be. And obviously he's been great, and this week was nothing short of that. 393 yards and 4 touchdowns, just a well-rounded, great game. 36 for 42, that's impressive.
Yeah, you throw the ball 42 times and you have 36 completions. I mean, that's why the dogs are barking for you, Julian, saying, because I tell you what, man, you lit it up, and you were looking like you were taking Ohio State maybe back to the same thing they got to visit last year. I mean, you guys are unbelievable right now. Congrats to Julian Sayin. I think it's the first time he's been our dog of the week this season. And, dude, the guy is absolutely legit. So moving on real quick, because like I said, we have a ton. So we're going to try to flow through the beginning of this real pretty quick. The near misses this week, we had Mizzou 23 at Auburn 17. Texas 16 at Kentucky 13. They should have lost. Washington State 20 at Virginia 22. They should have lost. Let me rewind. Mizzou should have lost. Texas should have lost. Virginia should have lost. A&M 45 at Arkansas 42. They shouldn't have lost. They just kind of made it interesting. And on the they gone segment, Texas Tech 22 at Arizona State 26. Memphis 24 at UAB 31. Nebraska 6 at Minnesota 24. Jesus, what are they doing? Louisville 24 at Miami 21. And these fellas know that I could have a whole episode over just Mario Cristobal in Miami again. It just never seems to amaze me. And anything on those real quick, fellas? A lot of those games we're going to get into. Anything on those real quick that you guys want to throw out? Anybody you want to yell at real quick or pound the table on?
Boy, probably the worst one on this list is Memphis at UAB. That's just not good at all. UAB just fired Trent Dilfer. Memphis is in the driver's seat, if not in the passenger seat, of the G5 spot for the playoffs, and they do this. It's an uphill battle for them from here now.
Anything from you, Nolan? Because I was going to allude to that one a little bit more too. I don't know how that happens. I think Brendan Lewis went down, the quarterback from Memphis. I think he went down on that football game, and I don't think I'm pretty sure like it may be fairly significant. I'm going to look at that real quick. If you have anything you want to add, Nolan.
Same thing you said. I'm not sure what Nebraska's doing here. They were in the driver's seat to really have a big season, and that team they shouldn't lose to, they lost to pretty heavily. But it's the same thing we've been saying all year with Nebraska. They hold the ball too long.
Yeah.
Raiola takes too many sacks. Their wide receivers are too far downfield. It's the same old thing over and over again. Kind of getting tired of beating the dead horse on Nebraska.
So, and the conversation with Matt Rule is heating up to go get a Penn State job. Maybe take Raiola with you. I'm not too sure that I would be really interested in that if I was Penn State, to be honest with you. I like what the hell? And back to the Brendan Lewis thing for Memphis. Yeah, he is listed as day-to-day. Hopefully he gets back. Without him, Memphis is going to struggle a little bit, and they are probably going to get clapped this weekend and play in South Florida. They're going to need their guys for that football game. Okay, real quick before we move into our playoff 12. Anything you guys want to talk about with all the coaches being fired right now, all the coach movement? Is there anything you guys want to talk about? Obviously, I talked about it last week. James Franklin out at Penn State. And I guess the latest and greatest and the best highlight is Billy Napier. They finally did it. Down there in Florida, they finally took care of the Billy Napier situation. It was inevitable. It was I can't say it was an ugly divorce, but it was like fairly ugly just because it had gone on for so long. I also saw DJ Lagway came out today and said he's a Florida man. So doesn't sound like he's going to go anywhere. But I just wouldn't be too sure of that. Anything you guys want to talk about that before we move on?
All right, I got a couple things. This is more so about the coaches that did not get fired. Ridiculous that Florida State has not fired their head coach. Ridiculous that Wisconsin has not fired their head coach. But I would like to point out there is one of the three coaches that I think should get fired that did not get a show of support from the university. That is Hugh Freeze at Auburn. Florida State released a statement that said we're backing him for this season. Full comprehensive review. Same thing from Wisconsin. Auburn, not a peep.
It's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Yeah, and Hugh Freeze went out and said it would be nice if I got some support from my AD and the athletics department. It's been crazy.
Hey, dude, if you're begging for some support, things are ugly, man, and that's inevitable too. That one's coming. I felt like the same thing. We talked about this in our group text a little bit. It was the same thing from him in a post-game press conference again. But like he kind of even said it, like they're out of excuses, man. You're completely out of excuses. Mizzou did everything they could to allow you to win that football game, and you just didn't do it. I'm with you guys. I think the most shocking one for me is Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. There is nothing going well there. There's been nothing that's gone well there. That one to me is shocking that it's not done yet. And maybe it's because they're kind of sitting back and maybe waiting to see if their guy becomes available. I don't know. I'm also one that I said this right away. Once James Franklin got removed from Penn State, I was talking to you guys about why does Florida not fire Billy Napier and call James Franklin right away? That one to me makes too much sense. I feel like they're probably checking in on Lane Kiffin right away. I don't know if that move would happen. I feel like that move wouldn't happen until maybe Ole Miss lost again and they were kind of out of the playoff hunt a little bit maybe. But this is going to get interesting. At some point, we're going to have a full episode just over coach movement and where these guys end up and what teams move on from their guys. So we couldn't go on without at least addressing it a little bit.
I got lots of thoughts about the coach movement, but I'll leave it for our full coach movement episode before the season's over.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's going to be a dandy. And I can't wait to see us all weigh in on that because that's going to be awesome. I guess it's not awesome because guys are losing their job, but could you imagine getting paid $60 million to go sit on the couch? It'd be incredible. Like, fire me. Seriously, get rid of me. I'm going to go home. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move right into our playoff conversation. And how this is going to work, you know how we did things on our top 25? We did things a little bit different. We took it as not necessarily a power rating situation. We took it as who we thought was the best with the resumes that they've had so far in the games that they've played. Now, our playoff 12 conversation is going to be kind of similar, but not necessarily. This is who we think if the season ended October, the 21st, 22nd, if the season ended October 21st, this is who we think would be in the playoffs. This is who we would elect if we had votes, whatever, to make our playoff team. Real quick, we got a question coming in. First thing, Josh, glad to see the gang back. Absolutely, brother. We're happy to all be here again. Looking forward to being back. The next one, Mike said, why would Kiffin leave MS, so Ole Miss for Florida? Florida recruits himself.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. And I wish we could share our group text on here, but it would be a little R-rated from the heated conversations that the four of us have had over, coaches like Drinkwitz leaving and going to Florida and the Florida conversation. Things get heated when these conversations come about, but Florida does recruit itself. Ron comes in and says he will when his daughter graduates. Honestly, yeah, probably. He seems to be recruiting Whit Weeks as it sits right now still. Whit Weeks is ever since that came out. Whit Weeks hasn't looked the same. He's been throwing up on the field, not playing games. Something Lane Kiffin's feeding him something a little bit different there. But okay. redirect our focus here to the playoff conversation, and we're just going to throw it up for you. So those that are listening on Spotify and Apple, you're not going to see it, obviously. Would encourage you to come on YouTube, subscribe, like, alert, do all those good things so you can see the graphics that we make. We make all of our own stuff here. So here's our playoff bracket. And if you're following along with us on YouTube, you can see it right now. So, yes, Jordan, I love it. STTDB, for those of you that know what that stands for LSU, I'm about it. I tried to play it that one day on the show and it didn't come through. It might have been a good thing. I don't know. But so our 12 seed is South Florida, getting in with the G5 spot, and they would be matched up against who we have as number 5, Georgia. Then we have number 8, BYU, playing number 9, Vandy. Then move on to number 11, Missouri, playing number 6, Oregon. Number 10, Ole Miss, playing number 7, Georgia Tech. And then our top 4 with the bye. Remember, this season, it doesn't have to be conference champions to get the 4 byes. It is just the 4 best teams in the playoffs rankings to get the bye. So ours shaped up like this: Ohio State 1, A&M 2, Indiana 3, Alabama 4. And our first 4 out, this is going to catch people off guard. This caught Nolan off guard a little bit. We had a conversation about some of these teams because we've been so high on some of these teams, and we still are. But, man, they just dropped the ball in a situation they should have dropped the ball in. And that was Miami, first 4 out. Texas Tech, first 4 out. Oklahoma, Notre Dame. And you see Notre Dame kind of working their way back into this thing a little bit and trying to find a way. And it's possible. But, fellas, what do you see when you look at this list? Like, this is kind of what we came up with. And I asked you guys the question, over under 5.5 of these teams on this list not being on this list come playoff time. What would you take, the over or the under?
We said 5.5.
I said the over.
Correct.
Yeah, 5.5 teams, over under 5.5 teams on this playoff bracket right here that we have in front of us being removed, not counting the first 4 out, just the top 12 seeds.
Gotcha.
Go
ahead, Brian.
So I said I had it backwards. So I had the under. So I think a lot of these teams are going to stay. I would say South Florida's probably in the driver's seat comfortably on the G5. So that's one. The top 4, I think Texas A&M is probably the riskiest there. So that's 4 teams staying, and then Oregon I think is right there, as well as Georgia too. So that gets me to 6. So I'm on the cusp. That's a pretty good, like we said in the text, that's a pretty good line for over under on who's going to leave and who's going to stay. I will lean slightly to that. I think more of these teams are going to stay on this list than leave.
I'm pretty much right on the cusp as well. The only thing I'd like to point out, we have 6 SEC teams in here. There is no way the SEC is getting 6, not with the schedule that's about to roll out. Because, you see Vanderbilt and Missouri here. They play this week. One of those 2 is likely not going to be playoff eligible. Colin leave here. His internet cut out. You still there, Brian?
I don't know what happened.
All right.
I'm still here.
Colin cut out. I'm going off memory on this then.
You guys got me?
There you go.
He's alive.
I'm back, boys. I'm back. I'm not really sure what just happened there. That was the weirdest thing that's ever happened. Everybody's still here? We're still good? We're still rolling?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're still rolling.
All right, wait. Let's throw this back up. Where were we at? 6 teams in the SEC?
So the 6 teams in the SEC, you look at the schedule kind of coming up. Just pointed out for this weekend, Vanderbilt, Missouri, one of those teams is going to lose this weekend. They're likely going to be out of contention at that point. Georgia and Georgia Tech play each other. If Georgia Tech is a 1-loss ACC champion, they'll make it. If they lose to Georgia and lose to the ACC champion, they're not making it. We're looking at, I'm going to say, if it's 5.5, I'm going to say over. I'm taking 6 of these teams not making it because I'm also not a believer in BYU. And like I said, I don't think 6 SEC teams are making it. I think it's going to be 4. I think Notre Dame's going to win out and they're going to climb into it. So that's going to take one of our SEC Big Ten spots. If Georgia Tech only losses Georgia, like I said, they're going to make it. And if Miami's only loss is to Louisville, they're going to make it. So there's 2 ACC teams. I think the Big 12 is a 1-bid league. ACC has a better chance of getting 2. But I'm going to probably go 4 or 5 or from the SEC, probably 4 or 5 from the Big Ten, Notre Dame, your group of 5 team, and then ACC Big 12 clean it up.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking 6 on this. I was pretty stuck on 6 in the group text, and we were discussing this a little bit, and I'm still standing firm on that. I'm with you. There's no way 6 SEC teams doesn't make it, and I think the Big 12 at this point, having Texas Tech lose, shot themselves in the foot, and I think it's going to be a one-bid league for sure. I think the ACC could push for 2 possibly, and I think that conversation really comes about if Miami's 11-1 and doesn't somehow win the conference championship game. I think that probably still in.
There's a real chance that it's Georgia Tech versus Virginia for the ACC championship game if they both go undefeated, because Miami has the 1 loss in ACC play. So they wouldn't go. It would be undefeated Georgia Tech in ACC play versus undefeated Virginia in ACC play for our ACC championship game. That is the only way that the ACC is getting 2 in. If Miami somehow gets left out and they go 11-1, the ACC champ will go and Miami will go.
I hate to be so negative, but Georgia Tech doesn't do anything in this playoffs. Virginia doesn't do anything in this playoffs.
I agree.
That's and that's just how it shakes out, man. Once again, Mario Cristobal in Miami and the Carson Beck situation, and that get just you played yourselves yet again. You have everything you need in your own hands, and you just let it slip through like a grain of sand. Again, I mean, it's just whatever. I'm not even getting on that topic. Can't do it. A couple comments we have coming in here. Ron said, I think Georgia Tech and Ole Miss should be switched. Here's the situation and why we do this. If Ole Miss and Georgia Tech are switched, the margins on Ole Miss, Mizzou, and Vandy are so slim that there's a reason that the way we have this shaped up that we have them 9, 10, and 11. Georgia Tech is undefeated. I know I just made a case where there's no way they do any damage in this playoffs, but once again, they're undefeated and they're doing what they need to do at this point. So I stand firm with them personally at number 7. So if you're moving Georgia Tech from 7, you got to move BYU from 8. Like you got to move both those teams back. If you're moving one, you got to move both. And in that case, I guess maybe you could slide Vandy, Mizzou, and Ole Miss all up, and BYU, Georgia Tech, flip them, slide them back. But the margins are really slim right now, and some of these teams have a lot to prove here moving forward. Next comment from Ron. Tech hasn't played anyone, not a single ranked opponent. I'm assuming you're talking about Georgia Tech here. And I'm, once again, with you, man. Like, I'm with you. I hear what you're saying, but they're winning the games that they're supposed to win. They're winning the games that are on their schedule right now, and they're taking care of business. I mean, look, like, once again, same thing with BYU. They did just beat Utah, but that's the only thing they had to show for it. Mike comes in. Vandy and Mizzou don't both make it. 100%. Whoever wins that game this weekend is in the driver's seat, in control of their own destiny to make the playoffs. Whoever loses that, see you bye, and you're done. There's a case where if Mizzou does lose that game and they win out and beat A&M and beat Oklahoma down the stretch and some of these teams lose, there's a scenario where Mizzou can get back in. I don't know if Vandy's schedule off the top of my head moving forward. I'm assuming it's pretty tough. So there's probably a world where they do too, but it would 100% have to be a win-out scenario moving forward. It would be a better loss for Mizzou than it would Vandy due to Vandy being at home and Mizzou being on the road. So it's going to get dicey. It's going to get dicey, fellas. And that there's a reason why we all just took the over on 5.5 teams on this list not making the playoffs. Anything else?
Thought that Vandy Mizzou game would have college football playoff implications like it has.
Honestly, man, not me. I'll be honest.
No,
I didn't think.
I would like to point out. This is one of the games that we said preseason when we were going over all the predictions and everything. There was 3 of us that all said Mizzou had to have this game if they're making the playoffs, if they're going to be ranked inside the top 12. So to say that who would have thought there was playoff implications? I mean, we called it, but at the same time, we just didn't know both teams were going to be playoff implications.
I was going to say some from both sides is what I'm saying.
Well, and I thought Mizzou had a pretty damn good team. I did believe what Drink was kind of saying coming out of camp that this was the most talented roster he's had. I'll be honest, man. I wasn't one that bought back into the Vandy thing. I kind of thought last year was like a one-off almost. Like almost one of those situations where you got to prove it to me that you can do it before I'm buying in again. And they're proving it, man. And it's going to be a damn good football game. There ain't no doubt about that. We'll get to that game tomorrow, though. We're going to have a lot to say about that game. Anything else on the playoffs here? All right, fellas, buckle up. It's going to get interesting the rest of the way for this season. You know what we do now. Let's dive right into our Heisman ranks, and we'll keep this pretty brief. You know how we do it. We sell one, we buy one. All right, so on this list, Not going to read them all, but Nolan, tell me who, if you could go put a bet in right now, who you're betting on, and if you had a bet on somebody already, who would you sell it on?
I would put my bet in on Fernando Mendoza up here. They have one more big game this year, and it's kind of make or break at that point. If he just keeps putting up the stats that he's been putting up so far, he's going to have those video game type numbers that you need to win the Heisman. He's going to have the Heisman moments. He would be the guy that I would place a bet on. If I'm selling one, I am selling Gunnar Stockton at Georgia. I understand. We'll talk about it when we do our big game breakdowns, but he makes the plays he has to make. But if you ask him to make a throw on 2nd down and 8 to get me to 3rd and 4, old boy can't make it. If you ask him to make a 3rd and 11 in the tightest window possible, it's where he shines. He's not consistent enough to win the Heisman.
I would agree with that for sure. He doesn't take them to the next level. He's not a guy that you look at and like, okay, that guy's a difference maker. I'm with you on that.
Yep.
Mike comes in and says, my wife says Jay Love. Well, after that performance this week, I would say that your wife has a very good argument, Mike. She is 100%. Hey, your wife knows ball. Your wife knows ball. Tell her I said that. Wife knows ball. Jordan comes in and says Marcel Reed. All right, there's a case. There's a case. Bryant, who you placing the bet on, and who you selling the bet on?
My bet was also going to be on Mendoza along with what everything Nolan said. Indiana, he's going to have a chance to just keep showing out and not be under the absolute spotlight of a must-win type game, something like that, where he can shoot himself in the foot, kind of like Carson Beck did last week. I think he's going to be a good bet on this list. On the flip side, I think I was high on Carson Beck, but I think I'm going to take him off my list, and that's going to be the one I'm going to sell. 4 interceptions. He's pretty much off the board, I think, already. He moved way down this list, so he'd be the one I'd sell.
There's a guy that's not on this list right here that's not fair for me to talk about because it's not on the list. But he's a guy that gets no recognition, and I'm pretty sure he has 26 touchdowns and 1 interception. And his name's Brendan Sorsby. So I like what he's doing. There's no way Cincinnati continues on, and there's no way Sorsby wins the Heisman. But I like what I'm seeing from him a lot. Like, the guy gets no conversation. And the other guy on this list is a guy that we've not mentioned one time that we would put a bet on, and I don't know why we haven't, and it's Julian Sayin. None of us have really ever picked Julian Sayin to put a bet on, and I'm picking him that's on this list right here because, fellas, I mean, he was just our dog of the week. Just threw 4 more touchdown passes. Ohio State's undefeated. They're on national television every single football game. They're the reigning national champs. I would say right now they're probably one of the favorites, the betting favorite to win the national championship again. At some point, one of us has to mention Julian Sayin, so I have to do it. And I think he has what it takes, man. The dude looks absolutely incredible. I'll be honest with you. The guy looks lights out. And this is going to go hand in hand with the conversation that just came, or a message that came in. Ron says he's buying Diego, and if he makes it to the finals, he wins it. He comes back and says, I should say the playoffs. I'm going to go with the opposite around right here. I'm selling Diego Pavia. I don't think Diego Pavia has what it takes to go win the Heisman. Diego Pavia is a very good college quarterback. He does do what it takes to win ball games, but he when I watch him is not the Heisman quarterback. He's not the Heisman guy. I'm taking Simpson, I'm taking Mendoza, I'm taking Sayin, I'm taking Marcel Reed. I'm going back and taking Dante Moore. I'm taking Jeremiah Love. I'm taking all those guys before I come in and take Diego Pavia myself personally. I'm going to take a dart here, and I don't know off the top of my head without looking at some of my notes. I bet Pavia doesn't average more than 215 yards per game, probably passing, right? I mean, I feel like it's got to be close. I just don't see those numbers being gaudy enough to go win you a Heisman. So I'm selling Diego Pavia, and he's catching tons of traction. I mean, look, dude, he's the 5th guy on this list according to FanDuel. FanDuel's coming 5th on the odds. He's not going to get my vote, that's for sure. Jordan comes in and says, Diego is a douche, pardon my French. All right, well, hey, I still 224 yards per game. I damn near nailed that with a guess or off the top of my head. So 224 is not enough. I'll be honest, 224 is not enough. And the interceptions against Alabama were so detrimental and so glaring. And like the one thing that you talk about when you look back at that game, that just overshadows everything I think he could do moving forward. Anything else on the Heisman, fellas?
Throw a flyer out on CJ Carr, especially if they crawl back into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, they could catch somebody and end up winning one of those playoff games. Not a big believer in them making it all the way, but they could catch somebody and really put up some big numbers. Although, kind of the same argument that I didn't take Julian saying, you got Jeremiah Smith up there. They're just attached to each other. CJ Carr, Jeremiah Love, it just
they're killing.
One of them's really going to pull away from the other.
They're killing each other on that list. At least Jeremiah Smith, if he's going, Julian Sayan's going. Whereas in Jeremiah Love's going, CJ Carr's probably not going. Yeah. And you kind of saw that. We'll get into that game, but you kind of saw that this week with the USC game. I thought CJ Carr didn't look that great. I thought he wasn't going, but Jeremiah Love was going. So I'm with you on that. National championship odds real quick. Let's throw these up here. The top 5, Ohio State, Bama, Indiana, Oregon, Texas A&M. Fellas, we don't have to sell one on this, but if you're placing a bet right now, who is it?
It's Ohio State every time.
Bryant?
Yeah. I think if you're going to go Ohio State's, I'm going to call them the lock, but they're not the lock. That'd be my pick from this list. But if I'm going to throw a flyer out there, it's either going to be Indiana or Oregon. I think those two teams are right there, personally.
If I gave you Ohio State, Alabama, Miami versus the field, which one do you pick?
I was going to ask you the same thing, but I was going to do Ohio State, Alabama, Indiana. I was going to do the top 3. But
okay, yeah.
Okay, so it's the top 3 of the field?
Ohio State, Alabama, or Miami versus the field. You want those 3 or you want the field?
I'm taking those 3.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm taking it. To me right now, the only 2 teams I tune into, let me make it 3, actually. Indiana makes it interesting, leaving them off your list. That entices me to take the field just a little bit because I could get Indiana and A&M in this conversation.
Indiana, A&M, Oregon, and Georgia is who I'm looking at.
Where I was going with that because of the Indiana conversation, but there's 3 teams I turn on their football game and I watch it and I'm just like, these 3 teams look a little bit different. These teams look marginally better than everybody else and most consistent. It's Ohio State, Alabama, Indiana. Yeah. Kurt Cignetti belts to ass everybody they played, is not afraid to kick your ass and run it up, proving a point. I think Alabama has the best quarterback in the country in Ty Simpson. I think he allows them to go win football games. We saw it against Mizzou, made big-time throws when the going was tough. And I think Ohio State just has the absolute most talent in the country.
Yep.
If you give me those 3, I'm 100% taking those 3 versus the field. No questions asked me. And I would damn near say that they would probably be – you get those 3, I'd say that'd probably be like plus 100 odds versus the field on those 3. Yep. Brian?
No, I'm right there with you. I think I would take – if even with Nolan's list, I think I would take those 3 over the field. The Indiana thing is enticing, but this Ohio State alone, I think, leads me to take the 3.
I think for me, the Indiana conversation and to why I'm still not buying them all the time like I probably should be. The Oregon thing changed a lot of my opinion, but I can't get last year's playoff game out of my mind, right? It's the same conversation that I had about earlier with Vandy. Like, until you actually show me that you're going to do it, I just don't know if I can believe that you're going to do it. Like, I don't know if they get in and they go play Georgia in the first round of the playoffs or the second, whatever it is. Are they really going to beat them? Like, are they really actually going to beat them? That's my question. Honestly, if you gave me Ohio State and Alabama against the field, I'd probably take Ohio State and Alabama against the field. I think it's one of those 2 teams, right? And I hate to say it. That's just what it is. Mike said, Bama has looked unreal since they lost to FSU. 100%. Ron says, why is Texas on this list? 100%. I don't know why they're on this list. It's because their name's Texas. Yeah. Jordan says Bama. So, give me those 2 teams versus the field. I'm confident in that. I hope I'm wrong, though. I 100% hope I come back and look at this episode and I'm like, I was a dumbass the answer was right in front of me and I never saw it. I hope that happens because I don't want to see those two teams win again. Or Georgia. Anything else on this list, fellas?
No, sir.
All right, let's roll. We're obviously not going to do these games as a quickie. These are our main games, but we might try to pick up the pace on them a little bit just because there's so much to talk about and keep it somewhat brief. But so the first game that we're going to get into here is Utah at BYU. Utah now 5-2. BYU now 7-0. Utah scored 21. BYU 24. Fellas, this is a good football game. I was completely wrong about who I thought won this football game. So, Bryant, what did you see in this football game when you watched it? When you watched the Holy War here, these two teams hate each other.
Yeah, the Holy War goes back a long way, and this was another staple game for this rivalry, man. But what an exciting fourth quarter this was. 14 points from both sides. Pretty much came down to Bear Bachmeier putting BYU on his back, almost literally, and getting him to the win. Great game from LJ Martin as well. But those two guys won this game for BYU. They had the majority of their stat line, just those two players alone. And then BYU's defense came up big when it needed to. This was a fantastic game, very late game, as it seems to always be. Can hardly ever stay up for this one. But on the Utah side, I thought Devin Dampier had a good game as well. Utah just could not get it done.
Nolan, what do you got, buddy?
I got a couple things. I will jump on this Bear Bachmeier train. He's better than I'm giving him credit for. It's insane how he just continues to make plays. It's the same thing I said about Stockton for Georgia. It's not the most consistent from down to down, but if you need a big play, you give it to Bear Bachmeier, you give it to Gunnar Stockton, and they'll get you where you need to go. The other thing is, the turnovers, big difference in the game, yes. But if we're looking at that fourth down efficiency for Utah, I love the aggressiveness. You got to keep playing to win, especially keeping the game this close. But at the same time, can we make one more of them? Is the game completely different at that point?
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it any differently if I was Utah. I'm not trying to second guess them by any means. Go for it. But at the same time, you got to have something in the back of your playbook that you're real confident in.
I think for me, kind of relating to the 1 for 5 on fourth down, where I would change it a little bit is Utah chose to forego kicking a field goal 3 times. All 3 of those times led to turnover on downs.
Yeah.
You kick one more field goal, we're talking a tie game. Maybe you kick 2 of those, and we're talking, hey, you might win the game. Comment comes in from Mike. The whole BYU campus was soaking after this game, dude. 100%. This was a doozy, man. And you know who Bear Bachmeier reminds me of? True freshman, by the way. So what he's doing is incredible as a true freshman.
But I can't get over that he wears number 47.
Drives me absolutely nuts. That shit's got to change. What?
So funny.
Drives me nuts. So for me, dude, he reminds me a lot of Haynes King, right? Like just finds ways to will his team to victory by running the football. And the whole place knows he's running the football because neither one of those guys light it up through the air. Mm-hmm. They'll get you a first down if they have to via the arm, but it doesn't happen often. If it's second and short, third and short, everybody knows who's getting the ball, and it's coming from their legs. And I have in my notes here that Bear, when I watch this game, he is 100% afraid of no one when he runs the football.
Yeah.
The hurdles and the running through guys, it's unbelievable, man. With a name like Bear, it's what you got to do. It's what you got to do. He's living up to it. So this was a good football game. I was really excited for this one. Mike, he was actually in our chat here, texted me and said, what game are you looking forward to the most this weekend? And it was Utah-BYU. I thought it lived up to the hype. This game kind of went similar to how I expected it to go, just the wrong team coming out on top. Slow, not a lot of points, hard-nosed, wanting to kill each other the whole time, and that's just kind of how it went. I think Devin Dampier is a damn good quarterback. I think sometimes the play calling is a little suspect, but this was a good football game, and I think it really killed Utah, and it really built up BYU. I talked last week, last thing for me on this, and then we'll go to the next game, but I talked last week a little bit how the narrative was coming into this game that BYU's beating nobody. Like, why should we believe in BYU? And I think Nolan and I were really driving that train ourselves, actually, and they did it, man. They did it, and I have a different opinion about them now. I still don't think they're incredible. I still don't think they're one of the 12 best teams in the country. I know they're in our playoff 12 because they're doing what they're supposed to do, but I'm still a little hesitant to buy all the way into BYU on this. And
this game was a little bit fraudulent. Same thing that you're saying. BYU might have won, but let's look at the penalties down here. 12 for 77 for Utah.
Yes.
Kills them. 1 for 5 on fourth down. Kills them. Turnovers, 2 of them, and that doesn't count the turnover on downs. Killed them. I mean, if this game is a 3-point game and you're telling me Utah had all this stuff go wrong.
And they're at home.
BYU's not better. They ended up winning this game, but they are not a better football team. BYU will lose, and they will not make the Big 12 championship game. I'm telling you now.
I'm not against that. I'm not going to push back on that at all. But to your point, there's 3 things that we as a unit on this network talk about on every game that we break down for the most part. It's penalties, fourth downs, and turnovers. And literally Utah lost all 3 of those handily. 12 for 77 versus 5 for 42. 2 turnovers versus 0. 1 for 5 versus 1 for 3. You lost all those massively. So that is why you lost this football game. 100% could not agree more with you. Anything else before we get out of here on this one?
No, sir.
Okay, the next game that we're going to talk about here is Tennessee 20 at Alabama 37. Tennessee slides to 5-2. Alabama moves on to 6-1. Nolan, what you got in this football game?
All right, correct me if I'm wrong here. If you watched this game and you took away that pick 6 before the half and you did it without the announcers, you're just watching football, you would think this game ended like 21-20. It was like a 3-point game. These teams were so close to each other, offensively, defensively, everything. It's that pick 6, I think, is what changed the complete game. Because I know it's only 7 points on the board.
That was a 14-point swing.
That's a 14-point swing because you're taking 7 from Tennessee, giving 7 to Alabama. Now you send the Tennessee team in at halftime. Coaches got to fire them back up because they just watched a 99-yard pick 6 happen. That's a backbreaker. And then you got to go sit and think about it for 20 minutes. It's too much to overcome. Momentum. It matters more in college football than it does the NFL. You see a big play like that happen. I'm not saying you guarantee the game's over, but you're pretty damn sure Alabama's going to win the game after that play.
Dude, that's 100% those plays that the casual person that watches a football game doesn't realize truly changes the outcome of a game. Talked about it last week. The penalty on Zion Young from Mizzou against Alabama when Mizzou scored a touchdown, then they go 3-and-out on defense and he gets a personal foul and moves Bama to a first down, then they go and score a touchdown. 100% changed the whole entire pace of the game right out of the gate. And this is the exact same thing that happened. And once again, we're talking about the same team that had it happen in a good way for them. You know what the difference is between a Tennessee and a Mizzou against an Alabama? Is Alabama doesn't do that dumb shit. Like we don't come back and say, well, Bama had a huge momentum play that they gave the game away. They're always on the receiving end in a good way in those conversations. That's just what they do well. They are fundamentally sound. Bryant, what do you have for this? Oh, sorry. No.
Last point, then we'll throw it to Bryant. I heard some stories about that pick 6. I was looking some stuff up. There was people saying from 2 miles away that they heard or felt the rumble from Bryant-Denny Stadium. That's insane.
There was a video on X of a dude recording in a parking lot, like an apartment complex or like a dorm complex, whatever, and you could literally hear it in the background.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 2 or 2.5 miles away. It was unbelievable.
I saw that video, the roar when he kind of slipped that tackle right there. Well, I think it was around the 15-yard line when he was running it in. It was insane. The dude's phone was shaking. Yeah, and he was holding it steady too. Yeah, that was crazy. I saw that too. But right what you said, Nolan and Colin. I mean, this game was pretty close. Both teams really couldn't run the ball. I thought they both were doing what they wanted to do as far as through the air. So it was a fairly evenly matched game, but it was truly the momentum. Once Bama got that pick 6, they were ahead enough to where they kind of just cruised a little bit, possession type game. And then Tennessee got some points and they would answer. And that was the story of the game. I mean, there was nothing really that was eye-opening that, the reason Tennessee lost or the reason Alabama won. Mm-hmm. It's strictly momentum, I think. Seriously.
100%. And that's usually when it comes to this game right here, that's the kind of stuff that separates the game is those momentum. Because, like, you look at what both teams did well. 4 for 5 for Tennessee on fourth down. Bama 1 for 1. Pretty damn good. 1 turnover to 1 turnover. Pretty damn good. The only glaring thing that sticks out, and the penalties are relatively close, they're a 7-yard difference. The only thing that really stood out is Bama got home with the pass rush 4 times, and Tennessee never got home with the pass rush on Ty Simpson. Now, with what Bryant said, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see what we have up here. And the leading rusher for Alabama was Jeremy Bernard. That is eye-popping if you're Alabama. That is the only concern I have for this Bama football team. I can't say only offensive concern I have moving forward for this Alabama football team is you have got to figure something out. I know Jam Miller's back in question and banged up again, but you have got to figure out something outside of him because you're the University of Alabama. Be better. It cannot be Jeremy Bernard on end arounds and jet sweeps and shit like that. That cannot be where it comes from. The only concern defensively I have for Bama is I felt like, and Tennessee's receivers have done this quite a bit this whole season, but I feel like Tennessee's receivers kind of ran open a decent amount. Like I discussed that a little bit before, is Bama's secondary sometimes gets exposed a little bit. And I think that's the only concern defensively I have for them moving forward. But also Tennessee does that. Like that's what they do. They're an explosive play. They're a bust you over the top. They're not a Joey Aguilar go down the field and they get 6 first downs on one drive and it's a methodical drive. It's a we're going now or we're not going. So that didn't come as a huge shock. But still, that's the only concern I have for Bama defensively moving forward. Tennessee, man, the only thing I have for them on this game is I don't know how else it is. Tennessee's Tennessee. This is what they do. Like, boom or bust. And that's all I have to say about them. They got some good receivers. They got a decent running back. Their quarterback is playing better than I expected. But this is just what they are. They're a good team, not a great team.
I'll push back on 2 things here. I'm going to push back on Bryant first. The rushing. This is one of Tennessee's better running games this year. And truthfully, I think this is the pushback on Colin about the Alabama secondary. I think it's the Tennessee run game and the lack of the big game wreckers up front that really brings out the deficiencies in the Alabama secondary. If you can't get home and rush the passer or just speed him up, you don't even have to sack him. If you can't speed him up, there's not many dudes on any secondary in the entire country that is going to be a first-round pick, locking dudes up on Sundays. You can't expect those college kids to do it either. I'm not saying Tennessee's receivers are first-round picks, Sunday dudes, but if you are not a true lockdown corner, like Kyle Hamilton we saw at Notre Dame a couple of years ago, if you aren't roaming the field as a safety from hash all the way to the sideline, opposite sideline, very easily, very quick, being able to read the quarterback's eyes, his body language, it's hard for any secondary. So I think it's more so the Tennessee run game in this one that's slowing down the front 7, causing the back kind of 4, I guess you would say, the back 4 for Alabama to just have to cover too long.
I would agree. I just think for me that I saw Bama get home 4 times. So and it was a concern going into the Mizzou game that I had for Bama is so I feel yes, I'm with you 100%. I just feel like it happens almost too often now, where that is why I'm still kind of addressing it for moving forward, because I don't think that's the last time it's going to happen. But so that's my only concern with them. But I'm with you. I mean, 100%. If you have to cover for a long time, you're not covering anybody for a long time. Period. That's what it is.
The other point is that was Nick Saban's baby. He was the defensive backs guy.
Yes,
he ain't there no more. They aren't playing some of that really technique sound jam man coverage anymore. And I think it kind of shows just a little bit when receivers are getting off the line.
Absolutely. No, I'm with 100%. The next thing we're going to talk about is USC 24, Notre Dame 34. USC slides to 5-2. Notre Dame moves to 5-2. Bryant, what do you got on this game?
This was a similar type game as far as momentum. I felt like Notre Dame, they got that kickoff return for a touchdown from Jadarian Price, and that was kind of what flipped the momentum. If USC did not let that happen, they're right in this. I don't think they played a bad game. Yeah, Maeva had a couple interceptions, but they were doing everything they needed to do to stay in this football game and possibly win it. Then that happens. They obviously couldn't tackle Jeremiah Love. He had an insane game on Notre Dame's side as far as what do you have? 228? Yeah, 228 rushing yards. That's really, really good. Shows what you can do when you feed him the ball. 24 times, which is what they should have been doing from the first snap of the season. But yeah, big momentum game. USC could not stop the run. And then Notre Dame got that kickoff return for a touchdown. And that was what kind of sealed the deal.
Ron comes in here and says, hope you guys bought the hook off ND minus 10.5. Ron, for your information, we had USC plus 10. So we get out of here with a push. And we were okay with that at the end. I'm going to build off what Brian said real quick, and then I'll let no one go. There were two plays that stood out to me in this football game. One, being the kickoff return from Jadarian Price, like Brian talked about. And two was the wide receiver pass / end around to Mekhi Lemon where he gets to the right side of the field and looks like he's going to throw the ball and loses it. That, to me, after the kickoff return, those two things right there, I immediately came to my notes and wrote down USC had every chance to win this game, dumbass play calling. So that right there was the complete difference maker for me. And shit like that, when you have an explosive return like that from Notre Dame and then you turn the ball over, that might have been back-to-back possessions. If not, it was really close. And it's done. It is done, dude. You gave it away. You completely gave it away. Nolan, what do you got?
It's building off you guys' points. Bryant said the game was close, just like the last game we talked about. It came down to the fourth quarter. Let me read you off the last 4 USC drives. Ended in interception, ended in a fumble, ended in a turnover on downs, ended in an interception. That, again, like you said, Colin, every chance to win the game, pissed it away at the end. The last 4 drives of the game, you can't give the other team the ball 4 times in a row without a single point. It's not how you're going to win the game.
Does that raise questions for Notre Dame a little bit that they only won this by 10? Or like you're just like, they did what they had to do?
Did what they had to do. Listen, we're all of the opinion they're not going to win the championship this year. No. We were harping on them after game 1 and game 2. Good losses, sure. But that's not what we're looking for in a champion at this point. They're going to be a playoff team. I hope you guys understand this. They're going to be a playoff team.
Oh, look at their schedule, dude. This was the last chance, and this is why I was so pissed because I don't think they're a playoff team. This was the last chance for them to lose. And USC, look at the penalties. Tip the cap to USC. 1 penalty in this game for 5 yards. I think it was a false start. That's a hell of a guess by me if it's 5-yard, 1 penalty. So thank you. I appreciate that. But
they couldn't run the ball, and Notre Dame couldn't pass the ball.
Yep.
CJ Carr, 136 yards, 16 for 26, 1 pick, 1 touchdown. Nothing special in this game, man. USC's pass defense, I don't know if they did what they had to do or Notre Dame just knew that they could just run the ball right down their throat. And this goes back to that narrative, like USC's defense is soft. And, dude, how do you allow 228 yards to one guy on 24 carries? And then you score a touchdown. I think was that touchdown that USC scored before the kick return? Did that tie it? That tied it, right?
That tied it because after the kick return, nothing.
And then you tie the game and you let him take 100 yards to the house. Just you lost to special teams and you lost defensively. And it's a damn shame because this USC this year is almost kind of like Miami last year to me. I want to watch more Maeva, Mekhi Lemon, and Lane. I said, I want to watch those guys more right now because they're entertaining to watch. They're some of the best in the business. That's arguably the best trio in the business right now. And it's a damn shame because you can't get it done. And this was a dagger for them. I feel like if they could have got to 6-1 and been in the same conversation as Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana, I felt like they could have been the 4th Big Ten team to make the playoffs. And they gave it away, man. They're so similar to Miami in the coaching aspect and the play aspect. It's crazy that some of these teams just can't figure it out. I'm scratching my head.
I will say moving forward, something to watch for Notre Dame. They had a tackle and a guard go down in this game.
Yeah.
They're both listed as week to week right now. If they both continue playing and they're healthy, like I said, they're a playoff team. If either one of them or both has to miss multiple weeks, that's when you can see somebody take advantage of it. So
And Notre Dame's secondary is very vulnerable.
Yes.
I know that, like I just said, these three were some of the best in the business that just went and did it against them, but they are very, very vulnerable. An Indiana, I'm thinking like an Indiana could light them up, and Cignetti is not afraid to do that if they played in like playoffs or something. So
Yep.
They need to lock that down. Bryant, you good on this game?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We got two more games on the main game for you here, and this one's LSU 24 at Vanderbilt 31. LSU 5-2, Vandy 6-1. Nolan, I'll go to you first on this football game. I have a lot down here. I'm going to try to keep it brief, but I'm going to go to you first on this one.
I love that Brian Kelly says nothing is wrong with his offense. I don't know if you guys knew this.
What is he
They are
watching?
ranked 104th in the country in red zone efficiency.
There's
I
more
would call
wrong
that a huge problem.
with
I don't know what he's looking at. How is he a head football coach at LSU?
He's
He
not
doesn't
looking.
think that's a
He's not,
problem.
he's not watching the field, Nolan. That's what he's not doing.
I think he should go to Penn State.
Oh,
I don't
Jesus
think he
Christ.
belongs at LSU, by the way.
Oh, Jesus
He
Christ.
doesn't fit their culture. Anyway,
I think you should go to Publix.
I don't know where he shouldn't be at LSU.
He needs to go to
He
La
should
La
not
Land
be
'cause he
wasting Garrett Nussmeier.
He's trying to believe stuff that's not even existent. Like
No.
Nolan said, that is a problem.
Manage
Stop
a Publix.
feeding us
Manage
this
a Publix,
baloney.
dude.
I'm
Manage a
not
Publix.
sure I'd trust him to do that either. Anyway, only note on Vandy. Diego Pavi's a monster. Eli Stowers is his best friend and one of the most reliable receiving options in all of college football this year. I'd
He
take,
didn't even do anything in this game.
dude.
Eli Stowers.
He takes up all of the coverage.
I know.
He
that's what
doesn't
I'm
even have
saying.
to get the ball.
That is
Yeah,
why
he didn't do anything in
Reliable
this game.
options in all of football, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, he just
That is
sucks
why-
all the attention.
that is why Cole Spence had a touchdown and 5 catches on
Mhm.
critical conversions and touchdowns this game, the backup tight end. I'm glad Ryan likes my comment. He's a Cajun boy, Publix as a store manager, laughing emojis. Yeah, dude, that's what he needs to do. I almost just dropped our first F-bomb ever on the show right there because he's terrible. Bryant, do you have anything else, Nolan or Bryant?
No, go ahead.
On the LSU side, man, I agree with what we talked about a little bit on the text over the weekend. It seems like something's wrong with Nuss. I don't know if it's an injury or what. He just seems off.
Did you
Granted,
see
he
how
doesn't
many
have-
shots he took in this football game again?
Yeah, he just gets destroyed. It seems
The
like
fact-
at least once every drive.
The fact that they only got him twice is an absolute Christmas miracle, dude. I mean,
Mhm.
they was shot after shot.
He didn't have horrible stats in this game, but
No.
it just didn't seem like the game went that well for him. It was just in slow motion, and he doesn't have the best receiving core out there. Obviously, not what we're used to at LSU. And then the rushing attack is virtually non-existent whatsoever. So there's another problem that Ryan Kelly won't talk about. But on the Vandy side, man, it's Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers and these tight ends. Diego just puts the team on his back. I mean, he's their leading rusher. Obviously, he's the quarterback, so he's going to have all the passing stats. He's literally just the guy. I don't know what to think about them because they just seem like they play old school football a little bit because their stats are never eye-popping. They just go out and win football games. So their defense is vastly improved over last year.
Yes.
They're very good at the defensive line. So I'm excited to see what this game on Saturday looks like with them. Vanderbilt's is kind of a conundrum, but credit to them. They win football games, and they're doing it in big-time games this year.
Here's what I have down for LSU. Their offensive line leaks like a sieve. It is absolutely horrible. Their offensive line's trash compared to what they had last year. Their defense is good, like Brian said. Their run game is trash, like Brian said. I mean, LSU is one of the most confusing teams I watch in college football this season, and I feel really bad for Nussmeier. He takes a lot of the heat on this, especially with Brian Kelly as his coach, and he shouldn't. Because he stands in the pocket and tries to make throws. He does everything he can. It is truly Garrett Nussmeier or bust. I would say one thing that I did see that was a highlight for LSU is they're using the shit out of that 6'7" tight end, Trey'Dez Green, all over the field. He's a very consistent, reliable option for them. And if Xavier Thomas didn't take a 62-yard touchdown to the house, this game is not close, fellas. This game is not close. That was the only thing good that I saw come from their offense. And let's talk about how my boy Whit Weeks wasn't in this football game. That's my defensive player of the year. I'm still standing on that. He didn't play in this game. That is a big loss. And I think you see it be a big loss because of the Pavia situation. When Pavia can get out of the pocket and he can get loose and he can outrun guys to a first down, you saw him absolutely cook Harold Perkins for a first down, and Perkins is one of the fastest linebackers in the country and absolutely cooked him for a first down. So that to me, I was like, okay, that when I saw that, I was like, LSU's in serious trouble in this football game. They're not going to win this game, and I don't know. LSU is a massive letdown. I think the Brian Kelly conversation's heating up, and I think it should heat up. I don't think he's doing what he needs to do as a head coach. And to no one's point, the comment of when you say nothing's wrong with your offense and you have 10 times more questions about your offense than you do answers right now, that is horrible, dude.
It's so comical. It's comical.
Yes, and I don't know if he was just trying to encourage the guys and actually not pull a Brian Kelly move one time and blame everybody else but himself. But that's when he should have stood up there and been like, we have some serious issues in every aspect of the football game offensively. He is horrible, and I'm not a fan of it. Chase comes in. Kelly's on the clock for sure. It's a matter of time, especially if this season doesn't get right, starting right now. It's really bad.
I was going to mention earlier on the show when we had that little piece about coaches. I was going to mention there's going to be some conversations with this coaching staff and Brian Kelly for sure, and they're already starting to happen, I would imagine. Yeah,
they have to. They absolutely have to. The last thing I'm saying in this football game before we move on to the next one, unless you guys have something else. The Vanderbilt environment right now, really damn electric, I think. I think they're getting up. They're selling out. And when I say really electric, it's really electric for Vanderbilt. And it is for a lot of schools right now, but this is something that Vanderbilt's not used to, and this place is popping right now. And I think it is a tough place to play at the moment. I mean, we saw quite a few false starts for LSU due to the loud environment. And LSU is used to loud environments. So I think it's really good for them right now. You fellas good on this? Anything else?
I'm good on it.
Okay. Hope the doors take a turn coming this week. The last game on the main game that we're going to talk about before we get into our favorite spot, the quickies, is Ole Miss 35 at Georgia 43. Ole Miss takes their first loss, moves to 6-1. Georgia moves to 6-1 as well. And we saw some chippiness before this game. I think Lane was calling Kirby fat, and I'm about it. I liked it, trying to get in his head a little bit. And Kirby comes back and said, that's for my wife to worry about, not you. Dude, I love it, man. And I love Lane Kiffin trolling, dude. It's awesome.
Did you see him troll the ref?
Oh, yeah, dude, the clapping. I've always been a Lane Kiffin fan, and most people aren't, but I've always been a Lane Kiffin fan, and I think he's a damn good coach. So I like what he's doing there. They just came up short on this one. Bryant, what do you got here?
Yeah, this was a fun game to watch, back and forth, nonstop. Really high throttle offensive game. Georgia rushing attack finally showed its head a little bit in this game. I thought they did really well on the ground. Ole Miss got shut down from that standpoint. Even with Trinidad Chambliss, he did not have a very good game on the legs, which has kind of been his bread and butter recently. And I think that's probably what kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit with Ole Miss, is they couldn't really get the sticks moved with Trinidad's legs like they have been, and they had to pass a little bit more, and they were losing it on third down, fourth down, and having to punt and give the ball back over. And then Georgia's had more possessions and obviously knocked down, drag out rest of the game, and ended up winning there at the end. I want to give credit to Gunnar Stockton too. Pretty good game, 4 touchdowns, one of the better stat lines in the SEC this weekend from that standpoint too. So Georgia did everything they needed to do in this football game. They look to be improving on all aspects. I feel like they've been answering some of the questions we had for them. So exciting football game. This game I knew was going to be close, but Georgia snuck it out.
I think for me is Ole Miss has to be really disappointed, really, really disappointed, because they led for 55 minutes of this football game.
Yep.
And they just let it get away. And this is not our dad's Georgia football team. This is a Georgia that doesn't have the greatest defense, still doesn't have much of a pass rush. As you see again, they did not get home for a sack yet again. They have no pass rush. They do not have first-round guys up front. They have none of that. And they are truly outscoring opponents. And, it was the same when the fourth quarter started and I saw Georgia doing this. It was the same thing that you see Georgia do. They wrap you up, they suffocate you, and they find a way to win the game. And that is exactly what they did again. They don't wow me in any level of the football game, but they just find a way to win. And that is all the credit in the world to Kirby, dude. It is just coaching at this point is all I can say. I don't know if you fellas agree or not, but it is 100% coaching in my opinion. That is it.
It's like you said in the post game.
I feel like
interview.
Kirby knows he doesn't have the teams of the past.
Yes.
Go ahead, Nolan.
It's like he said in the post game interview. His team's just hard to kill.
Yeah. Yes. 100%.
I think he knows he doesn't have the teams like he's had recent years, and he's coaching to that rather than trying to pull them up to what previous teams were, and that's showing it's paying dividends right now.
I love this comment from Jordan. I'm just glad I don't have to hear Pat say, "Who's that coming down the tracks for 5 more days?" Pat drives me absolutely nuts.
Should I stand on my chair and do it
right now? Yes, do it right now. One thing with this game too, Colby Young is out, I think, for the season. Georgia, he goes down, the receiver for Georgia in this game, and he is out. And that's a big loss for them because I'm not impressed with their receiving core really at all. Or really their run game, or necessarily their quarterback play. I know he looked good in this game, but I mean, that to me is concerning. A couple of notes I have down here. Ole Miss converted all 5 third downs in the first half. Literally converted all 5 third downs in the first half. Ole Miss, 3 touchdown drives of 10 plays or more in the first half. Pretty damn impressive. Ole Miss, touchdown on first 5 possessions, and they still lost this football game. All those were Ole Miss stats, and they still lost this football game. Georgia forced a 3-and-out in the fourth quarter, and that was the first drive in 11 possessions that there wasn't a punt. 11 possessions from these two teams before there was a punt. These are not the defenses that we're used to. Ole Miss had a great defense last year. Georgia had a great defense, and this is not it, fellas. These two teams got to outscore opponents, and we saw Kirby just outcoach them. Ron comes in here. All their top recruits on the bench entered the portal, but that's another conversation. Chase comes in. This is a little bit different of a conversation, but I like it. What do we think about drink extension? We know other teams have to be looking at him. I don't think they've released all the details on the drink extension. I know it is definitely in the works. I think it's going to happen for sure, and it needs to happen, or yes, he will be gone, I think. And Bryant and I have had serious conversations with Nolan about this and Dave that we don't necessarily think he leaves, but the more I thought about it, that was definitely me being a homer. I think that if Florida comes calling, I think if Penn State came calling with a lucrative deal, I think he would definitely be out the door. So it is 100% primary objective number 1 of getting drink extended right now. Toronto, didn't you already get extended through 2028, 2029? Yes, but now they're just paying him more. This has got to be an agent's dream, dude. When you have a coach that you represent that is having success and all these coaches get fired, this is your wet dream that you can call up the school that you represent for and be like, hey man, I'm just trying to let you know I've had like 5 or 6 schools call about drink right now. I think you should probably offer them a bit more money. I mean, this is everything they want. This is working out to their favor. Beautiful. If you're an agent or a head coach and you're having success. All right, fellas.
There is one note. There is one agent who represents basically all of the top coaches. His name is Jimmy Sexton.
Yes.
Dude's making money hand over fist. And I've seen some arguments recently about why do we pay the coaches so much? We've had this argument. Why are the coaches paid so much? Because the players are the ones playing the games. Jimmy Sexton very much does not want that, and he represents the biggest coaches in college football. So we are not about to pay the coaches less money anytime soon. I can guarantee it.
If he could have reached through and punched all 3 of us in the mouth, he would have at that time right there. And then paid to have somebody cover it up like it never happened. Probably paid us, and we would never have to work again. All right, fellas. Let's hop into this quickie review. Also, if you're here with us, we've had a lot of traffic coming in and out. Love the comments tonight, dude. This is when it makes it fun. Love the comments. Love the interaction. Encourage this every single week. This is where it's fantastic stuff for us. Also, if you're here, like, subscribe, alert, comment, tell your friends. Do all those things. Help us out. We're still growing pretty good at a pretty good rate. Like I said before, we're finally up over the 100 subscribers mark, and we love all you guys coming in here and joining with us and rocking with us. It's tons of fun when you guys get in here and talk with us. We love talking ball with our fans. All right, so the first game on the Quickie preview, we're going to kick it to Bryant. Mizzou 23 at Auburn 17. Mizzou 6-1, Auburn 3-4. Bryant, tell us how close you were to a heart attack.
No one can vouch for me. We were watching this game together. I was up pacing around. Mizzou had every chance, Auburn had every chance to win this game.
Either way,
if they had a kicker, this game would have been different. It wouldn't even went to overtime. Inconsistent showing from Mizzou on offense, man. They were just back and forth, 3 and out, bad throws, but then they'd come down and make 2 or 3 great plays in a row and be right down towards the red zone. They got to be more consistent there. I think it's an awesome offensive line and a little bit of a Bo Perbula issue that we'll dive probably deeper into more tomorrow with the preview for this coming week. Another thing with the offense for Mizzou, I think we got to get Donovan Olubade in the game more, get him the ball more. He's electric for a freshman. Made it one really good run and catch in this game and a few more clutch catches as well. Need to get him the ball more. On the defensive side of the ball, both teams, I think both defensive lines, including Auburn, are top-tier defensive lines in the SEC for sure, possibly the country. Do everything right, stop the run, rush the passer, and it showed in this game. No team really could run the ball, and both quarterbacks were under pressure the whole game. Mizzou's secondary is still an issue. They did better in this game, but they still get caught looking in the backfield, and that bit them 3 or 4 times. If Ken Coleman didn't drop that ball in the first quarter, this game's 14-0 right off the bat. So another break from Mizzou. Like I mentioned, Auburn should have won this game. And then Jackson Arnold just continues to kind of shoot himself in the foot, hold the ball a little bit too long, and then get sacked or just doesn't make the play when it's needed. And they ended up losing another one here to Mizzou. Very nerve-wracking game. Up and down as far as emotions are concerned for a Mizzou fan, but we got the win, and it's hard to do, especially on the road in Auburn.
100%. You guys hear that?
Whoa.
That's the sound. That's the sound of the truck backing up for Olubade in this offseason. That's the sound of the truck backing up, just dropping money bags off at his doorstep. Because I think he's already the best receiver on the team. It is mind-boggling to me that he is not out there every single play. The dude is absolutely unbelievable. And we could have did a main game on this. We chose not to just because it was a 3-3 Auburn that Mizzou beat. So I'm just gonna let this one go. I could go on for an hour, but I'm just gonna let it go. I told myself I was just gonna let it go. All right. So the next game on the Quickie segment that we have here is Texas at Kentucky. Texas 16 at Kentucky 13. Texas is 5-2. They are the worst 5-2 team in the country. Maybe. I am absolutely not a fan of this Texas team at all. Kentucky should have won this game. If you watch this game, most people probably didn't watch this game because it was a Texas-Kentucky game. They felt like there was no need to. Holy shit. Texas' offensive line is absolutely horrible. Nolan, you hit the nail on the head and drove it all the way in probably 4 weeks ago. It's absolutely horrible. And I am so damn tired of Texas because it's rinse and repeat, dude. It is the most cyclical thing I've watched all season. They get out there, they should lose a game, they find a way to win it. It is an absolute miracle they're 5-2. And I don't really have much on this football game other than the fact that Texas had 132 passing yards and 47 rushing yards and was sacked 3 times against Kentucky. It is 100% absolutely awful. And I'm going to go on record right now and say Texas ends the season at 7-5. I looked at their schedule moving forward. If they're anything better than 7-5, it's an absolute miracle. And if you're betting on Texas to win the national championship, just Venmo me instead. Just Venmo me instead, and don't give nobody else your money because, one, I think you're absolutely absurd. If you're only a Texas fan if you're betting on them. They're not going to find anything midseason that makes them better. I'm moving on from this football game. Can't talk about it any longer. 2 comments that we do have coming in real quick. Jordan said, waiting on a giveaway. We did do a giveaway last year. You're probably right, Jordan. You're probably right. You're not right often in life, but you'll be right on this one. We probably should do a giveaway this year as well. And I'll talk with the guys, and we'll see if we can come up with something. We gave away some tumblers last year, and that was cool stuff, seeing people get in there and get after it. So we'll do something else for that again. We do have that new slogan where shop the books and buy the hooks. We're wanting to make some hoodies and stuff like that. So maybe we do one of those things. Chase comes in here real quick. I keep expecting something different every year with Mizzou, but I live in Texas and can confirm that they are dog shit. Yes, Texas is dog shit, and 100%. We're right there with you, man. We expect something different every year with Mizzou, and it doesn't happen. And we'll see. Jordan said that comment was not necessary. Dude, it was necessary. You deserve it. You know it. You know you deserve it. All right, Brian, this is your quickie, man. Or Nolan. Just Nolan or Brian?
This is me.
Washington State 20, Virginia 22. Go ahead.
And this was a story kind of like we mentioned in some of our main games. The penalties absolutely killed Washington State, as well as the 2 interceptions that they had. But Virginia just keeps finding a way to win these games. Washington State should have won this football game. Really, this is a poorly played game. Neither team could really do anything. Virginia had some wild play calls, especially on 4th down. I don't know what they were trying to do. But, man, they just keep finding ways to win. They get a safety in the 4th quarter and an extra 10 points to prevail. They were down 20-10 to go into the 4th quarter and somehow pulled away. But, man, there's nothing to write home about from the Virginia side of the game to anybody. They did not play well, and they snuck away with a win against a really bad Washington State team. So credit to them for getting a win, but nothing really to build off of from this game. I would just take the dub and move on.
Take the win and move on, baby. The next quickie we have here is Texas A&M 45 at Arkansas 42. A&M moves to 7-0. Arkansas 2-5 with that new fantastic interim head coach they got there. It's like I'm having deja vu. But, I mean, this football game, I do have some questions for A&M, man. They gave up 527 yards to Arkansas. That's concerning. And I was kind of thinking that A&M's defense was a little bit better than that. Now, listen, Taylor Green is an absolute stud. It's a damn shame that Jordan comes in as soon as he sees this next. He had a bad beat on this one. We both did. It's a damn shame, truly, that Taylor Green does play for Arkansas. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC. He needs to get out of there before he gets killed. We saw him get absolutely mowed in this football game. Looked like he might have been out for the game, and then he comes back. So, I don't know. I think A&M is vulnerable, but I think they're pretty damn good. Arkansas over 8 yards per play. And I will say one thing, though. This game is a 3-point game, and it's only because A&M dropped back into that BS defense and let Arkansas get all these points and pad their stats and move it on and beat us all that had A&M. That's exactly what happened right here. Thank you, Mike Elko, for that ass kicking that we all just took for absolutely no reason. Last thing on this game, A&M takes care of the football. They play clean football. Marcel Reed looks really damn good. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 280 yards, and he's lethal with his legs if he has to be. A&M looks good, fellas. That's all I got on this one. The next one that we have here is Texas Tech at Arizona State, and this is Nolan's game. Texas Tech 22, Arizona State 26. Nolan, give it to us.
So real quick, 2 points for each team. We're going to start with the Arizona State side of the ball, and I'm reading some stats off here, so if you hear some clicks, that's why. But Arizona State, 83 scrimmage plays to Texas Tech's 64. Obviously shows why they have more yards, and then a bigger yards per play. I mean, that's the story in the game right there from the Arizona State side of the ball. More plays, more yards. You're going to create more points at that point. The Texas Tech side of the ball on defense, you already knew what they were going to do. You knew Sam Leavitt was dropping back to throw to Jordan Tyson. Why didn't we have 2 people covering him every play?
Every play.
Just dumb coaching.
Yep.
Texas Tech offense, listen, I don't want to hear any more arguments.
I knew you were going
to Colin, that Baron Morton and his backup are the same player. It's Baron Morton every time. Look at the stats.
I didn't say they were the same player. I said the drop-off wasn't awful.
It's awful.
It is now indeed awful.
Look at the stats. And then the Arizona State side of the ball on defense, some of their advanced metrics here that I'm going to read off to you. Their stop rate. A stop rate is a non-successful play. So for running plays, greater than 3 yards is a successful play. For a pass play, greater than 6 yards is a successful play. They had a stop rate of 61% for the Arizona defense against the Texas Tech offense. You ain't going to win many games like that. And you want to know where most of their stops came just to really drive my point home? The passing game from Texas Tech. It was non-existent.
Hey, Ron said he's right there with you. They missed Morton bad. How long is he out? I think he's still day-to-day this week, right?
Day-to-day.
Yeah.
Day-to-day. You know how that goes in sports. Everybody's day-to-day. You ain't going to get an answer till, what is it, injury reports due Thursday night? You ain't going to get an answer till then, and then it'll be a game-time decision most likely. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you, though. Hammond it showed. Not good. And once again, why do teams not just take Jordan Tyson out at the knees, because that's all Arizona State has, dude. It's unbelievable to me. 2 quickies left. This second to last one's mine. Washington 7 at Michigan 24. Both teams now 5-2. Honestly, man, this was Bryce Underwood's best game of the season, in my opinion. 21-27, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, took care of the football, looked damn good, made some big-time throws on third down when he had to. And I'm impressed, man. True freshman, and I think the sky's the limit for him in Michigan moving forward. Jordan Marshall comes in this game just as Haynes is out. I do think Jordan Marshall was the backbone of the offense in this football game. Had 25 carries, 133 yards, and a touchdown. Really stepped up and filled the shoes of Justice Haynes, and they really felt like they had no drop-off here on that. Also, I'm going to give a little bit of credit that this Michigan offensive line is doing a damn good job in allowing this team to develop plays and get things going in the right direction. I will say, too, this game does feel a little closer than the score. Washington was in this game pretty late, and then Damon Williams just absolutely fills his cleats with shit and just absolutely has a meltdown. Like, just went out there and just interception. Just had a complete and utter meltdown and lost his team the game. I don't know how else to say it other than that. Everybody other that follows our show knows I'm a huge Damon Williams fan. Just absolutely let the team down. And I feel like that's what lost them the game. But the Michigan defense did show out. You had Jonah Coleman held to 3.1 yards per carry. Denzel Boston held to 71 yards. You took the big 3 out of this game, man. So credit to Michigan's defense and getting the job done here at home. I thought Washington had a real chance to win that football game, and I was wrong. The last quickie that we have for you here is Louisville 24 at Miami 21. Both of these teams 5-1. And I know that Nolan was just absolutely partying when he saw this unfold for Miami. So, Nolan, this just naturally has to be yours, man.
The Louisville defense did exactly what I've been asking people to do for weeks now. Stop the run game, load the box, and let's see if Carson Beck can make a intermediate to deep throw in tight windows. Turns out he can't. That's where the 4 interceptions come from. This is their kryptonite. Everybody, please play them this way. If you can even halfway match up against Miami's receivers, which not a lot of teams in the country can, I'm going to give you that. You probably feel like you need more help. But if you can even halfway match up against them, make Carson Beck throw the ball against you. And Mario Cristobal will still try and run straight at you in a loaded box. I don't know how many times you guys looked at this or how many times you saw this. They had 7 or 8 in the box. 60% of the time on Louisville's defense, it's only those 3rd and long, obvious passing downs where they just kind of played even numbers, I guess I would say. Just everybody play them this way. I would love to see Miami lose, not make the playoff, miss it. God, it would make me so happy.
Hey, man, it's the Mario effect. I know Beck had a bad game, but it is the Mario effect, man. It is. We've pounded that into oblivion on this network. There was 2 coaches that we rode more than anybody, James Franklin and Mario Cristobal. One's fired, couldn't get it done, and the other one still just can't get it done. Let me ask you this. Is Mario in trouble if they don't make the playoffs?
No.
No? Okay.
No. Here's the reason why. The biggest boosters at Miami, he's best friends with.
Yeah, well, it's a good boys club down there, and he's in it, so it's good for him. Jordan comes in. It's stacking the boxes the way to beat them, in quotes. Is that how you beat Mizzou too? Well, if you watched the Mizzou-Auburn game, that was your answer. Yep. They stacked the box, and, yeah, if you're playing Mizzou, I mean, if I'm a defensive coordinator, I know how to beat Mizzou. It's very simple. It is honestly very simple. And until they can prove otherwise, that's exactly what I do the whole entire game. Stack the box, and I would play no safeties. I said this in multiple texts to people, like kind of being funny, but actually kind of being serious. I would have no deep safety. Why would you? Just put everybody up, just press cover everybody. Everybody's in the box. Everybody's on the lines of scrimmage until they can do something different to prove it. That's what I would do. So, anything else from you gentlemen on this episode? Went a little long, but hell, we got a ton to cover. And our review episodes do usually go a little bit long because we get into the Heisman conversation, the championship conversation, our rankings, the playoffs, all the good stuff. And obviously, we had to get into some coaches' conversation, so that had to be done. If you're still with us and you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and hit the alerts button so you know when we go live. We are coming back tomorrow night and doing our preview episode. Do not miss it. It's another action-packed episode. Tons of good games to talk about this week as well, and we will get into that Mizzou-Vandy game for all you Mizzou fans that follow along with us. Make sure you're here tomorrow night. It's going to be tons of fun. Real quick, we have another comment come in here. We can't leave no comment behind. Do we think Hardy is as good as we think, or do we think our O-line finally played SEC teams? Hardy is as good. I'll say it right now, still one of the best running backs in the country. Confirmed. No doubt about that. The offensive line does seem to be a little squeaky at times. It can get a little dicey. I also just think nobody's giving the credit to Auburn's defense, and they should, because that defense is really, really, really good. They are a top-tier defense. They just have no offense to go with it. And that's pretty simple for me. Jordan comes in and says he's good. I just think Bo – he's good. I just think Bo sucks running around like a chicken with his head cut off. There's more to be desired there as well. We're going to see this weekend. There's more to be desired, and they got to have a better game plan. I agree with that for sure. Or it's going to be the same thing over. All right, fellas. Great episode. Tons of good content here. But we will see you all back tomorrow night. Make sure you're with us. You can follow us on YouTube at Deep Threat Sports, Apple Deep Threat Sports, Spotify Deep Threat Sports, X DT_sports_, Facebook Deep Threat Sports Network. Nolan, Bryant, hey fellas, till tomorrow night. Peace.